What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? When you were 8 and you had bad traits, you go to school and learn the golden rule. So why are you acting like a bloody fool? If you get hot, then you must get cool. Bad boys, what you gonna do? Or what you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys.
Caveh.
Test. Testosterone, Michael Bay.
Hey.
And Caveh. I mean, in a different way. We're here on Toxic Masculinity Cast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to further heighten the toxic masculinity, we're in my man cave. We're in
so
my
many movie
disgusting
posters.
Movie apartment.
It was just women splayed out suggestively.
Yeah, Alex, of course, is referring to all of the sexy movie posters I have that are all from a variety of different,
mostly porns.
Pinku films, pornos.
Yeah. You have vibrator torture and all that good stuff.
Lolita vibrator torture, of
Guinea
course.
pig, flower of flesh and blood.
Yeah, all of the guinea pig movies. Yeah. No. I have reputable films. I have a very carefully curated mix of high and lowbrow artworks to display.
It is actually very tasteful in here, if I'm going to be honest.
Thank you. What do you think is the most off-putting poster? Eyes Wide Shut?
No, not at all, really.
No, because it's whatever.
Because if you didn't know what Eyes Wide Shut was, you'd think that was just a movie about two people kissing.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. On my bedroom door, there's the only like actual erotic one I have is on my bedroom door, which is
Zalman King's greatest
No,
hits.
it's not Zalman King. It's
Caveh Zahedi.
No. Oh, we're gonna talk about him. No. The fucking and sucking movie.
Yes.
Emmanuel 2.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Sorry,
right.
I need to get comfortable.
That is funny that you have that on your bedroom door.
Yeah, I do, because it says something like nothing is wrong if it feels right, and it's like a threesome happening. Yeah,
that's really funny.
Of course, no sex is happening in my bedroom these days, and you know what? That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay because I'm enlightened, and
no, this is toxic
I'm
masculinity
saving my
cast.
seed, right? And it's building up a lot of power. Like
that's why you didn't want me to go in the kitchen, because you just have tubes and tubes of your seed.
Yeah. Please don't open the fridge. Do you need anything to drink? Or are you fine?
Oh, I'm okay.
You're okay.
Yeah, I have my water bottle.
Okay, good, because there are tubes and tubes. Yeah, you don't want to go in there, man. It's fucking gross. Yeah, welcome back to the franchisees. Yeah, we're way ahead in space and time now.
It doesn't even seem worth it to talk about current affairs.
No,
but
I mean.
Well, big news today, sort of. It was kind of leaked the last week or so.
Oh.
But it just kind of tripped me out a bit, because I don't know if you remember, but when we were at the Modest Mouse Pixies Cat Power Elder Millennial stock,
I remember that.
We were a bit stoned, and I was like, what do you think it would be like if Oasis reunited in 2024?
I forgot that you mentioned that. Yeah.
And here we are, and Oasis just announced that they're reuniting in 2025.
Right. Well, that's crazy that when you asked me that question all those months ago, I said, "Oh, I don't know. It would probably happen in late August of this year."
That's true. Yeah.
And I said, we'd probably be recording an episode about, I don't know, a Michael Bay movie, probably Bad Boys.
Yeah.
And you said, "Oh, okay, interesting." And then I said, "You'd probably be wearing an Honest Edge shirt and some white shorts, and I'd probably be wearing the pants that I have that have a rip in them, but not the ones in the crotch, because they all rip in the crotch because of my biking and because of my thunderous thighs." And it looks like I'm right.
Yeah, no, you do have the second sight.
Nostradamus. That's me, baby.
But they're back, baby. The Gallagher brothers.
Yeah. I saw someone sharing the Mr. Show clip, like where they're playing Oasis, and Bob Odenkirk's like, doo-dah, doo-dah. Yeah. Oh, what are you going to do when you guys go to the moon? Eat some cheese, whatever. I don't know. I never liked Oasis, really. Are you into them, or?
In retrospect, looking back, I think I'm way more of a fan of Blur. Whoa, controversial hot take. But like there was a time in the 90s where, I thought Oasis were pretty cool.
Sure.
Because, you look back and Liam Gallagher, he looked pretty cool with his unibrow and his just drunken sneer. And they have some, like, undeniable rock anthems.
Oh, well, definitely. I mean, maybe we talked about this on the show already, but someone was like, what's the best Oasis song? There's a correct answer or whatever. And it's like, Look Back in Anger is like a great song, right?
Sure.
That's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Don't Look Back in Anger.
Don't Look Back in Anger.
Yeah. Look Back in Anger was the unpopular B-side.
B-side,
Yeah. I think that's a great song. Wonderwall, sure, at a time was probably a good song, but it's kind of been ruined, right? And then Champagne Supernova, I never really liked either. But then, like, I don't know. I feel like I've never really listened to... I don't think I've ever listened to an Oasis album, like, front to back, I probably should.
I'm not actually...
Are you going to go when they come here?
I might. Yeah.
Let me know, because maybe I'll go.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like...
it could be fun. I mean, unless it's like $1 bajillion, then I don't want to go.
That's true, because it is kind of what I thought would happen, where it seems like they're just going to play massive open fields. And it might be, not dissimilar to like Nebworth vibes from like 94 or whenever that was from the Supersonic documentary.
Right.
Which is a fun documentary. They are very funny brothers, especially when they're taking pot shots at each other.
Yeah.
Like they're really good at doing that.
Their nickname is the Funny Brothers.
Yeah,
right?
true. Yeah. That's what that documentary Supersonic should have been called.
Yeah, the funny Brothers. Yeah, the Funny Brothers. Noah and whatever the other one's name is. Liam?
Yeah, Noel and Liam.
Noel and Liam. Yeah,
Noah and
right. No.
Leif.
Yeah.
Leif.
Yeah. Yeah, good boys. I like their haircuts. And I think, good for them for putting to bed their childish fight
for millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah. They've earned it.
Yeah.
Good for them. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll become an Oasis fan.
No, I don't think you have to or anything.
In between now and the time they come to Toronto and play at like Downsview Park or whatever, right?
That's what it's rumored to be.
That was the leaked document. Yeah. Interesting. Well, I don't give a shit about that, Alex.
Cool.
Yeah.
What's happening in your life that's got you interested?
Well, it's my weekend, which I'm spending doing this,
yes.
and also spending after weeks of watching Caveh Zahedi movies.
Yeah, this is your Nebworth.
And today in particular, over the past couple of days, really squeezing in the show about the show because I thought I had more time, but then I realized there's these other episodes I had to watch that I had to buy them off his website because his poor beleaguered ex-wife Mandy sued him so that he couldn't have them on online. Anyway, we're gonna get to that.
Let's get into it.
Let's talk about it. But basically, right after we record this, Alex and I are going to go to the Paradise Theater as part of the Bleeding Edge class about the class Caveh Zahedi showing that they're doing, and they're showing his works in progress higher education series, and then another one of the documentaries he made with his class as well tomorrow.
Yeah, is it called higher education or higher learning? I can't remember.
Oh yeah, higher learning.
One of the two.
Yeah. Sorry, higher learning.
Doesn't matter.
No wait, because they're also playing a movie called Higher Learning at the Review, which is a John Singleton movie, unrelated to. Yeah. See,
I'm just lost.
There's a lot going on right now. Yeah. All right. Well, let's because we gotta do this quick. We gotta get out of here.
To our Woodstock.
Our
Woodstock 99.
To Caveh stock, yeah, which is gonna be, I'm kind of anxious about. I don't really want to be in the same room as him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just feel like I've overdosed on him.
Same.
Yeah, I know.
It's got me excited though. It feels like this is the cosmic correct conclusion for overdosing on Caveh for the last week and a bit.
Yeah.
This is the logical endpoint of the journey.
Well, the logical endpoint of the journey, and also the only reason we started the journey in the first place.
Yeah, true.
Eventually I was going to watch. I've got this big set of his movies. Eventually I'd watch them, right?
Yeah.
But this felt right. This felt like the time, and I'm really glad that I have dragged you down into the mud.
Hey, I got deep in the sauce, man.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, that's good.
I haven't felt as conflicted about a filmmaker because I'm kind of a fan, Yeah,
me too. Me too. As a filmmaker, but he seems like a miserable man.
Sure, but his being a miserable man is also so intrinsically tied to his films.
Yeah. So one thing just to bring up, I saw a friend on Instagram sharing one of the posts and I said, "Oh, see you there." And he responded, "Interesting. I was under the impression you did not like this man." And I said, "I don't like him, but I love his films." And then he said, "I don't think you were allowed to separate the art and the artist like that." And I said, "I guess we'll find out on Tuesday." So here we are.
Yeah.
No, and we was just joking, obviously, but
Yeah.
it is really funny, you know. I think we even talked about this in Alien Romulus a little bit. I don't remember. I was going on some dumb tangent. Like, we were talking about ethics of filmmaking and
Sure.
in resurrecting dead actors and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It's so funny, the focus on specifically the phrase separating the art from the artist, and the focus on that to either justify what you're watching or your viewing habits, or to denigrate somebody else's, right? When, like, this is just such a perfect example of, like, why that specific language is like kind of empty.
Sure.
You know, because you can't separate this Caveh from his work. You know what I mean? His life is his work.
It's almost performance art.
Well, it is performance art, yeah. But I feel very comfortable saying I really like these movies.
Yeah.
But also they're extremely distressing to me. They make me feel bad.
Sure.
And they make me feel on edge. And I am genuinely kind of like a little weirded out by being in the same space as him, because I think he's like kind of a bad guy,
and
you know,
from what we've seen of him, you know, he'll be like reading the crowd and being who here is into me, like who likes me, who doesn't like me, you know. I guess
we'll find out. I don't know. I mean, my assumption is everybody there is going to really be on his side. You know, like, and there's a Q&A. I'm not saying I'm going to stand up and be like, "You're a bad man, Caveh." But
Mr. Zahedi.
Yeah.
Well, and then you mark David Chapman.
Yeah, David Mark Chapman.
That
ties
part
into
is
the
so
show
funny.
about
the show.
That guy is so fucked, eh?
The actor dude, Sam Stillman or whatever.
Yeah. Oh my God. All right, let's talk about it.
I just want to say it's funny that you mentioned the moral ethics of, like, resurrecting the dead.
Yeah.
Because it's like Caveh Zahedi does kind of like the opposite. Where instead of resurrecting the dead, he's including entirely too much about living people and real people. You know what I mean? It's just like possibly the polar opposite.
You're right.
Of resurrecting a dead actor's likeness, and it's like including too much of a real person.
Well, yeah, and I think, you know, I mean, it would be cool. We should try to ask him a question in the Q&A.
I don't even know what I would ask.
I don't know what I would ask either, but maybe one thing that is a potential question would be,
what do you think of Alien Romulus?
Yeah. I would really like, what do you think about Bad Boys? Would you go on our Bad Boys 2 episode? No, I think the question, you know, maybe this isn't interesting at all, but, like, when he is in the editing process, we see in the show the show about the show that he needs kind of another person there to bounce ideas off of a little bit. So when he is doing his addresses to the camera or the reenactments, is that in the part in the process where he decides, okay, I'm gonna say this, or I'm gonna not say this, because this is, like, where does he draw the line about what he repeats and what he wants to include?
Good question.
Or does he record pretty much every moment and then in the editing decide, okay, I can't really do this or that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, at what point in the process does he actually self-edit?
Yeah, does he self-edit or self-censor, if at all?
Yeah, and I feel like it's if at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think he probably shoots a lot more than we see.
Right. That's a good question, right?
Yeah, I think that's great.
All right. Well, when we're on our way there, let's try to, like, because I'm so bad at, I get so antsy about, like, I'm fine speaking in public, but when it comes to these Q&As, I always get, like, weird and clammy, and when they're handing you the microphone, so I want to, like, write it down so I can, like, say it properly. But that's a good question, right?
Well, that's like,
I'm genuinely curious about that.
Do you remember the time David Cronenberg came to Queens?
Yeah.
To talk about Naked Lunch, and I sat front row because I was a huge Cronenberg head at the time.
I was drinking in the bar. And I missed that class.
You missed it?
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude! Yeah. I was the first person to ask him a question after the screening or whatever.
Yeah.
And my friend Charlotte was sitting next to me, and she told me she'd never seen someone shake as much as I was shaking in that moment.
Sure.
And I went, "Hi." The first thing I said was, I went, "Hi."
Yeah.
And then everyone laughed because I just wanted, you know, to greet him to our university and stuff. But then I feel like I had a good question. A lot of people ask dumb questions, but I think I asked him, like, because I know he wrote the script for Naked Lunch with William S. Burroughs.
Yeah.
And I was like, what was the process kind of collaborating with the original author of such, like, a surrealist nonsense
Sure.
piece? Like, what was the kind of
That's
like
a good
give and take?
question.
Thank you.
Yeah, because in that movie is a very I need to see it again. I've only seen it once a long time ago, but that movie is a very interesting adaptation, right?
Yeah, totally.
That is like metatextual and like self-critical and all this other sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
I think that's a great question.
Thank you.
Good for you, young Alex.
I like
Yeah.
that book a lot too.
I skipped that class, went to the bar.
That's
And then
fucking crazy.
when we found out David Cronenberg was going to be there, I just said, God damn it. You know what I mean? Drown my sorrows in the bottle.
I don't know how because people were like, there were rumors that it was going to be David Cronenberg.
I was self-sabotaging at the time. It was a classic Ben Turnbull self-sabotage.
Nice.
Which, now that I've seen all these frickin' Caveh Zahedi movies, I'm
Yeah.
realizing I could have been filming all this all the time.
I got a photo with him, and it was put in the Queen's Journal. I was like,
I would have. It would have been great to meet him. I have since seen him a couple times at the Lightbox introducing stuff. I've never had the chance to meet him. I saw him on the street once. And
Yeah, me too.
I was on the phone with Maxim.
Nice.
And he was on the phone with somebody else.
Brandon
and
Cronenberg.
he looked at me from possibly Caitlin. He looked at me like, oh, this guy knows who I am. And I looked at him like, it's David. And I was saying in the phone like, it's David Cronenberg. This is at like Bloor and Dufferin. He was walking across the street. And he just kind of smiled and was like, I continued his phone conversation. And I was like, I gotta go. I gotta talk to David Cronenberg. But I didn't say anything. What am I gonna say? Like, oh, David, can I suck your dick? I love you.
The Brood. The Brood was so good.
Can you attach me? Could you carry me around like on your stomach like the lady in The Brood?
Yeah.
Or like, could we get into a telepod and together and become become Benjamin Cronenberg? I'd make better movies than Brandon, I promise. No, probably not.
I went up to him after the Q&A and I was like, I've been obsessed with you since I read an article about you in a magazine that came free with a copy of the Globe and Mail once. And he was like, which magazine was that? And I was like, Toro. And he was like, oh, I remember that feature.
You didn't come up to him with a flesh gun attached to your head?
Yeah.
David!
Mr.
Cronenberg! Bam, bam, bam. Yeah. All right. Now, this is going to come out well after the Caveh Zahedi weekend, so we can joke about assassinating him. We're not going to.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not going to.
Yeah.
And also, he includes the reference to it in his work.
That's the name of the episode.
That's the name of the
David
episode.
Mark Chapman.
Yeah, and that guy, like, I know these are reenactments and performances. I know that guy is in other movies and so on, but like, he comes off very poorly.
Well, that whole like kind of scene that he's part of, that New York actor boho scene a bit, is really interesting.
It is. Well, that's sort of what this screening collective brings to Toronto a little bit. And that's why I'm a little suspect about it sometimes. Because like, granted, I haven't seen a lot of those movies, but I've seen some of them, and like, they're very varying degrees of quality. I mean, I'm sure that's the same about mumblecore in the early 2000s and so on.
Yeah, you had to be there, babe.
Yeah, but there's definitely a real like shitty attitude that a lot of these people seem to have. That it's kind of extremely off-putting. Like, it's so funny. Dasha shows up in one of the show about the show episodes, like maybe in the other ones. Yeah. And like the Ion Pack and like all these other New York people, and I'm like, oh man, like of course all these people love Caveh Zahedi.
Yeah,
like it makes perfect sense,
Yeah.
I mean, and again, like whatever. I'm not trying to criticize them. I also like him. I'm paying money to go see him tonight.
We sure are.
Yeah.
We sure
also,
are.
Okay, so here's what I watched this week.
Did you watch anything other than Caveh? Because it hasn't been long since we hung out, so I think all I have is Caveh.
Okay, I did watch a couple other things. I watched a couple of Preston Sturges movies.
Cool.
Christmas in July and The Great McGinty. I like them a lot. Christmas in July especially, really funny. It's like an hour and 7 minutes long. It's a beautiful length for a movie. Lots of laughs. I don't know. I like Preston Sturges a lot. You should definitely see both of those. Those are two of his like earlier movies. They definitely get better and funnier, but they're still all really good. I was talking about Larissa Shapitka on an episode, maybe the really long one where we were like, or the like bonus episode or whatever. But I watched the documentary about her, like after she had died, that her husband Ellen Klimov made. But it included like an extended bit from like the ending of The Ascent, which I hadn't seen yet.
Spoiler.
So I closed my eyes. I put my hand over my head and I don't know, it was stupid. I just shouldn't have watched it. It was just on the Criterion Channel, and I was like, all right. And then I was talking about Victor Aris in the other episode.
Yes.
And with friend of the pod, past future guest Devin, we went to the TIFF Lightbox to watch Close Your Eyes, his new movie that played in TIFF the festival last year, and is now finally getting released just before the next edition of the festival. So I really liked it. I think it's probably, well, a couple of the best movies I've seen this year are actually from 2023.
Right.
This and La Chimera and I don't know. I wouldn't. I
Evil
don't
does not exist.
yeah. Boo. Oh wait, yeah. Sorry, I thought you said When Evil Lurks.
No.
Evil does not exist.
Different
Thumbs
movie.
up.
Yeah.
Thumbs up. Yeah, shit like that. Close Your Eyes. Really cool. It's funny. My mom saw it before I saw it because it played at the Blue Mountain Film Festival in Collingwood, and I got her 2 tickets to whatever movie you could redeem for whatever, and she took my aunt, right, and I gave them suggestions. Like last summer was playing there. I don't think they wanted to see the French incest movie. There are some other movies that hadn't been released yet. And I was like, oh, well, I've heard really good things about this movie. But it's also like a 3-hour long movie. Yeah. But they really liked it too. So it was cool to get to find, to catch up to my mom's cinephile journey, And then other than that, these are the Caveh movies, okay?
Yes.
I watched the SHEIK and I, which is one of his, I guess the kind of last feature-length one I had to see, about how he's commissioned to make a movie for the, Sharjah Biennial or whatever. I don't know. I never know how to say that. Film festival, that takes place in the UAE, right? The whole thing. Oh God, I don't even know what to say. The whole thing is why would they hire this guy? Yeah. So they're like, we love your films, we've seen all your movies, and blah blah blah. And the whole point is, we're the theme of the festival is making a movie about art as a subversive act, right? And it's okay, well, this is we're talking about the UAE. It's not a free society necessarily. There's a lot of oppression going on, and he's like, okay, art is a subversive act. Well, there must be some sort of catch, right? And she's like, oh well, there can't be any frontal nudity in it. There can't be this or that. But also you can't make fun of our sheik. And so as soon as you I don't know what they're thinking. They've seen his movies. Yeah. So as soon as you tell Caveh not to do something, he's going to do it.
And he's going to talk about you telling him not to do it in the movie.
It's all in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and if you don't want to act in it, then he'll just recast you he'll just get an actor who looks like you to, Anyway, what are they, dumb? They're clearly not idiots. Yeah. And it's so funny at the end of the movie, one of the main characters, programmers who first kind of reaches out to him ends up becoming a programmer at TIFF.
Right. Yeah.
Which is so funny.
I've heard about this beef.
Yeah. So it's just what were they fucking expecting? You know what I mean? So of course he makes fun of the sheik, and of course his movie is irreverent about Islam and about all of the different kind of oppressive policies, the fact that there's a lot of foreign workers who don't have any rights in the country and who have to are forced to basically go work there and send money back to their families, but their families can't come over and blah blah blah. All sorts of human rights violations and whatever other sorts of things you would expect. But the movie is also it's not just irreverent. There are times where it's racist. There are times where it's it is genuinely well, what was he thinking? You know what I mean? Which is of course the case. So I didn't really enjoy watching it. I kept repeating to myself as I'm watching it, death to America. You know what? That really is the worst. America. Caveh should be killed. There should be a fatwa. but of course he jokes about that too, right? Right. And anyway, it's essential though. You have to watch it. If you've gone this far, I'll lend it to you. You gotta go all the way down the rabbit hole. Yeah. And then after that, you watch I Was Blacklisted by Tom Powers, right? Who is not the person who got hired by TIFF. He does work for TIFF. Okay. But he basically he basically would send out all these letters to festivals saying, you can't play this movie.
That's really
you
funny.
shouldn't play this movie, blah, blah, blah.
So he made a movie about it. Brilliant.
Yeah. And then some other shorts, like I was in a film starring Laura Dern, which is his short on the set of Citizen Ruth, the Alexander Payne movie. And I seen that movie, and I did not recognize Caveh. He's in it for like a second.
Yeah.
It's so funny because it's like, you're like, wow, like here he is, like young Caveh, like he's in a Hollywood movie, you know? And you're like watching him. It's very short, but you're basically watching him sabotage his like potential career as an actor, you know, because he's just giving Alexander Payne a bunch of direction, and like he tells you about it. You don't see it. He's he's really mad at me. Like I gave him all this direction.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it is funny. And I saw a review that was like, you know, the fact that Caveh is a better filmmaker than Alexander Payne is besides the point, even though it is true. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I mean, they're like apples and oranges, like so different.
Totally.
But you know, perhaps he is a greater artist. I'm comfortable saying this.
Yeah.
And also perhaps they're both bad people. We've heard some bad things about all these people.
That is very true as well.
Yeah. And then the show about the show, I was like, I thought I had more time, but then I realized I actually don't. Like I have to watch Bad Boys, whatever else. And I was watching it at work, which I was trying not to do because there's nudity in it. And I just didn't want someone to be like, what are you watching, Ben, you weirdo?
Yeah.
But I'm like watching it like huddled in a corner, like on Vimeo or YouTube or wherever I can get it. And I'm just like looking around like, please, nobody judge me.
Yeah.
And it was fine. And then I went to his fucking website and I paid like $16 American or whatever to download the last 3 episodes that aren't online,
which I've yet to do. So
and
kudos.
I will give them to you.
Appreciate it.
I will give them to you. And then I was like, well, I literally don't have enough time to finish it, so I started Bad Boys, and during the first 20 minutes of Bad Boys, I like turned the volume down on Bad Boys, but put the subtitles on.
Wow.
And watched. And I watched
another
the last
show about a bad boy.
The last 20 minutes of the show about the show on my laptop.
That's incredible.
Yeah, which is absolutely.
That's galaxy brain.
Yeah, is really stupid.
You transcended.
No, you should never do something like that. It is totally irresponsible to both works of art. However, I don't really like Bad Boys. And spoiler. And I really wanted to finish this before we go to the screenings tonight. Yeah. And we're going to be recording right up until we go.
Yeah.
So there was no other option. And you know what? Cinephiles, if you're like, why would Ben do this? I can't believe he would do something like this. First off, you don't know me.
Yeah.
You don't know me. Get the fuck out. You think you know who I am?
Back off.
You don't know who I am. You don't know who I am.
Although like 2 episodes ago you were like, you know me.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you're like...
I did say that.
You know I'm watching movies.
You know what? If you think you're so smart, why don't you go and edit those 2 clips together and send them to us?
Nico.
Yeah, Nico. Yeah, why don't you do some frickin' editing, eh? Why don't you frickin' do a reel?
Snip, snip.
Do a little snip reel and embarrass me if you think I deserve it. Because I watched the ending of a 3-hour YouTube series while I was watching the first 20 minutes of Bad Boys. So honestly, the first 20 minutes are a little hazy for me. That's okay.
I'll fill you in.
I don't think I really missed very much. I will, and I'm going to pass it over to you. I think you watched a lot of the same things or some of the same things. The show about the show. Now, I feel like it's a lot richer having seen all the other stuff.
Absolutely.
And, you know, you should definitely do that. I think a lot of people, this brought him a lot of fans. Like, it got attention. And I remember when it was happening, I just like, I don't know, for one reason or another, I wasn't super interested in it. If you've seen it, you should definitely go back and see all the other stuff. If you haven't seen it and you think this stuff is interesting, you know, you should watch his movies. They're online. A lot of them are easily available.
That's true.
But if you don't, like, that's fine, because honestly, I think it's a great introduction to his work. And in many ways is also like his magnum opus, right? You know what I mean?
No, totally.
Like the purity of something like I Don't Hate Las Vegas Anymore is like so perfect.
Yeah.
And also succinct. But like the show about the show, there's nothing else like that. Even though it doesn't seem like that novel of a concept when you're first starting it. You're like, oh, there's lots of self-reflexive meta stuff like this. But you do not understand the lengths to which he goes.
No.
You do not understand how thoroughly he will ruin his life for his art. You know, to what extent it's all true, I don't know. It feels very real. and it's very distressing.
Well, there's a certain point where, you know, it kind of stops being a metatextual work on the filming of the previous episode and kind of, I don't know if it devolves or evolves into him just like really, really graphically spilling the tea about everyone he comes into contact with, you know? Yeah. And it becomes just like Caveh giving you an oral like catch up. It's as if he's like your friend, you know, like, and he's just like, let me fill you in on the crazy week I had. And then he just proceeds to like air so much dirty laundry.
Yeah. Almost entirely about his crumbling relationship with his wife,
his experiments with like open relationships and polyamory,
his sex
and
life,
and
you know, very peripherally his YouTube show.
It becomes so
it's hilarious,
diluted. It's very funny.
Yeah, it's so funny.
It's like, this is called The Show About the Show, and it's about the making of a show, but by the end of it, it's like, it's about the unmaking of a man's like relationships,
which is the case of everything else in his career.
That's
true.
I
don't want to go to Las Vegas anymore. It's not about really Las Vegas. Well, obviously not about Las Vegas. It's not even necessarily about his relationship with his brother and his dad. It's about him. It's about him being crazy. And then Bath of the World obviously is about him. So there's not as much like, you know, whatever framing there.
And then the one other movie I saw, which you lent to me, was I Am a Sex Addict.
Oh my God.
And that's another, that kind of has like a lot of DNA, at least with the presentation of the show about the show, where it's like him talking to the camera a lot, like relating kind of this lurid, super personal history.
Yeah.
And, you know, I agree there's like a lot of icky stuff and icky behavior. And I watched it, friend of the pod, past and future guest, other Ben, who's like the nicest guy in the world.
Watch it with him?
He came over to help me with the website. And then I was literally like, hey, I got a movie for us to watch.
Oh my God. And why would you do that?
I made Ben watch it.
What did he think?
So, you know, Ben is an upstanding, you know, nicest guy you've ever met. And, you know, he couldn't rate Valerie and her Week of Wonders on the show because that's how strong his moral code is. Yeah, and even though it infuriated me because I love ratings.
Right.
But he hadn't seen any of his work before. He completely like acknowledged that this is a problematic dude, but he also like was completely engaged and entertained and like, you know, laughed at certain moments because he's a good filmmaker as well. Like there are funny cuts like back to his face, or like he just like ad-libs a line after like reenacting something. That's
they're very well made movies.
Yeah.
I think the editing in The Show About the Show in particular is really well done.
It's very good.
It's very funny.
So it's like, you know, I liked it too. It's weird to say because like I'm simultaneously like repulsed by this man because of how he's just, I don't want to say ruining other people's lives because that's dramatic, but like just exposing other people to such an uncomfy extent. Like
people get caught up in his like tornado and ripped apart a little bit. You know, like I think if you want to actually make a case for what is the most objectionable thing in his filmography, Mandy, I'm sure to some extent understands, you know, just by being married to him for so long, like understands what she's getting into to some extent.
More than anyone else.
But he also is, you know, very, very hard on her. The kids, though, you know, the kids don't have any choice. The kids never had a choice. And so much so that when I watch the SHEIK and I and you first see his like son, I'm like, oh no, he had a kid, you know.
Yeah, right.
No. And there's some pretty distressing stuff in that, and also in The Show About the Show, where he's like forcing his kid to like perform for the camera, and the kid does not want to do it. You know, especially his son. Like his son does not want to do it. And you know, like I'm not saying he's like abusing his child for the work or whatever, but he's certainly like being a bad father. He's being a shitty dad. And that's like a bit of a bummer, you know.
And it is, I agree with you that I don't think you need to have seen a lot of his other stuff to really enjoy The Show About the Show, which I think speaks to how good The Show About the Show kind of was. Like
it's a masterpiece.
throughout the show, he's constantly kind of like being courted by Viceland and stuff. And it just feels very much like that. It's like just compulsive. It feels, I know it's a show, but it feels very online, you know?
Well, yeah, and it's so, the Viceland stuff is so funny because, you know, I didn't watch a lot of Vice TV programming like when it was happening, but of the Vice film stuff I had seen, not the documentaries. So, well, no, you know, like Vice Guide to Travel and like other sort of like we're going to this event on acid and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Like Vice wishes it was Caveh Zahedi.
Totally.
Because his stuff, you know, even though it is built on layers and layers of whatever quote
Human
unquote honesty,
suffering.
but also suffering and artifice, I'm sure to some degree, and all sorts of things like that, it feels so much more real, and the performance art feels like it has so much more, like carries so much more weight and value. But the Vice stuff is performative,
and it's very shallow.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it's shallow
Very
and it's
superficial.
performative.
Yeah.
This is not performative.
No.
I mean, like obviously it is by some definition, but you know what I'm trying to say? Like, this feels raw. I'm not saying that it's good because it feels raw. I'm just saying that energy.
It feels more of an objective truth about Caveh's work than.
Well, it reaches a sort of like transcendent, awful, hellish sort of state, whereas the Vice, like Viceland stuff, or like Vice videos about, you know, someone going to Liberia and doing shrooms feels like some jackass college kid like who you want to beat the shit out of doing something because it's like edgy, and it's not.
Errol Morris's son.
Hamilton Morris. If you don't know, now I've dropped this bomb on a number of people lately because people don't know. If you don't know Hamilton Morris from Hamilton's Pharmacopoeia. I don't know it. Listen, I don't speak Latin or whatever language. If you don't know this, Hamilton Morris, what is my favorite nepo baby? He is Errol Morris's son. He is Errol Morris's son. Okay, I just wanted to get that out there.
Yeah.
It's a warm and gentle feeling, coupled with a bit of nausea from eating so much raw cactus. It was a very large button.
Keep eating it, because once you stop, it gets harder. The more you think about it. Just relax. Take a deep breath. Take it easy. Okay, go over there by the fire in the dirt. Go to the dirt. You were doing good.
That's a great example. Okay, I watched that show.
Me too.
Like, I don't hate that guy necessarily, but that guy is so full of shit compared to somebody like Caveh, who to be clear is a walking manifestation of shit. Do you know what I mean? He's not full of shit. He is actually shit. Yeah, he is actually a shit monster.
He's a shitstorm,
Kevin Smith style. Hamilton is just like a phony. He feels like a phony. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Jeez, I'm really burning bridges again. I should stop burning bridges. What if Hamilton Pharmacopoeia guy wants to be on the franchisees, you know? What if he wants to talk about Errol Morris's movies? You know?
Then, you know, for the record, I like you, Hamilton.
I do too.
And we'll make it a safe space.
Yeah, we'll make it a safe space, and we'll do whatever drug you want.
Yeah, we'll give you like Colombian poison toad.
Yeah, whatever drug you want to do, and whatever kind of half-assed.
And we'll boof it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll put it out wherever you want it, and we'll apply whatever sort of half-assed like framing you want to make it seem cool or moral or whatever. That's right. That's right. Come on, he's so full of shit. I don't know.
Yeah, well.
You're right. So are we.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true.
But anyway, all that's to say, pretty excited actually to watch Caveh's latest work in progress thing.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, maybe it'll be really good.
I mean, it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It's all the same thing, right?
Yeah, that's
It's all
true.
just more.
Yeah.
I want more.
I want more.
I want more.
Yeah.
I want more. I'm not proud of myself.
No. You know what's going to happen is Caveh Zahedi is going to be like our most watched director on Letterboxd.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Oh no!
And like our
most
all
the
watched
shorts
star.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so embarrassing.
It's going to happen.
That's awful. All right, we have to delete our accounts. There's no other option. Yeah.
It's come to this.
I'm looking forward to it.
Me
It'll
too.
be fun.
Yeah.
And I know we're way ahead of time, but Bad Boys 2 is going to be the Bad Boys 2 / the last episode we talk about Caveh Zahedi.
Maybe I'll like peripherally bring him up as I watch more of his stuff inevitably throughout the year.
You're right. But it'll be the time we talk about the event that we're going to.
Yes,
yeah,
totally.
Okay, good.
The podcast about the event.
Yeah, the podcast about the event. Well, that's what we'll call it. Yeah. Alternative title: Bad Boys 2. All right, so
Bad Boys 1.
Bad Boys. Yeah, we're talking about Michael Bay.
1995.
Bayham.
Yes.
Yes, this is his first movie, and I am, now that I've seen it, I am fairly confident I had not actually seen this in full before.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I actually was perusing Letterboxd, looking at it stuff, and I saw that friend of the pod, past and future guest Joel, reviewed it, and in it he mentions having nostalgia for seeing it on cable, specifically TBS The Superstation.
Yes.
And I completely agree with him. I think as a kid, I probably watched parts of this on TBS The Superstation. Is a very TBS The Superstation core film.
Absolutely. And then by the time the second one comes out, which I have technically seen, but like as a child when it came out.
Sure.
That was the time when there were other dedicated movie channels and the beginning of, like, you know, not streaming, but like movie channel packages you might have on TV.
The movie network.
Yeah,
in
shit
the
like
States,
that.
HBO.
Or like on-demand stuff, you know. And I definitely would have seen it there. My memory of it mostly is that I found it to be like kind of just distressing also because it's a pretty vile movie. But that's the one that's going to be fun to watch.
Okay.
Like that to me, I actually really don't want to watch the new ones. I just don't care. Like, even if they're whatever, I just I'm not interested. The main reason why is because Michael Bay's not involved.
Yeah.
Like, Michael Bay is a director I've never really liked, but I understand why people respond to his work, and I understand the Bayhem. You know, I understand the, you know, whatever quote unquote vulgar auteurist kind of readings of his movies. He's like kind of the poster boy for that in some ways. Even though I think that whole kind of framework is stupid, you can just call him an auteur. you don't have to specifically say he's disgusting piece of shit.
He's a vulgar auteur.
Like, whatever, who cares? So that's going to be. I'm really excited to check that out. Also, it's 2.5 hours long. Also, it's insane. You haven't seen it.
So
right?
I haven't seen it.
It's insane.
I remember when it came out, and I remember that song by Nelly, Murphy Lee, and someone else. Puff Daddy, potentially. That had everyone, you know, shaking their booties. I think it was called Shake a Tail Feather.
Oh, yeah,
and,
of course.
I remember seeing clips of the movie in that, and people thinking it was a really big deal.
Yeah.
But, you know, what was interesting is I was looking up these movies, you know, this one especially being Michael Bay's first movie, it doesn't actually have the craziest, biggest budget. Like, obviously, adjusted for inflation, that budget's higher, but it's still not like, you know, $100 million plus movie budget.
I'm not surprised by that.
And Bad Boys 2, like, it made really good money, obviously, but it wasn't like, again, $1 billion at the box office, even though when we were younger, it kind of felt like it might have been because it was so ubiquitous that summer.
Yeah, it was huge, definitely. Yeah, Bad Boys 2, I think, is the, you know, because this is his first film and he's still developing his, like, style, right?
Which was interesting to see.
It was interesting to see. By the time we get to Bad Boys 2, you know, I think many people would consider that perhaps the height of his style or his best maybe.
Wow.
Not maybe in terms of the content of the movie or the whatever, but just for the pure, like, bayhem of it all. You know, that might be the height. And I know people do really like some of the Transformers, especially some of the later ones, in terms of that sort of like vulgar auteurism thing. Yeah. I don't think many people are making the case for, like, you know, I don't know, The Island or whatever.
Right.
But people love The Rock and Armageddon and all that, and
which he made after this and before Bad Boys 2.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Oh, and Pearl Harbor. Okay, that's a good example.
Pearl Harbor.
I don't think many people are making the case for Pearl Harbor as like one of his better movies. Yeah, that movie I saw in the theater.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember seeing it in the theater because it was a PG-13, and my dad and brother and I went, and I remember us thinking it was bad.
Okay.
because it like, and I haven't seen it since. It'd be probably be fascinating to revisit. Yeah. Now, here's the thing: like, when we talk about a director, I typically would like to go back and watch all some of their stuff. In this case, I don't have time for that right now when we're doing it. So when we do Transformers, we're going to talk about Michael Bay's other stuff.
Sure, certainly.
You know, because this franchise is only half Bay and then half like whoever else, some other guy.
A directing team.
Directing team, yeah. Mm-hmm. Neither of whom are Michael Bay.
No. But this is, the genesis.
Yeah.
Bad Boys 1.
This is the beginning, yeah.
A very orange movie.
Oh, yeah.
One of the most orange movies.
Oh, yeah. Miami.
That's true. I've been to Miami. the sun is weird like that.
Yeah,
everything's just caked in.
Miami is a weird place. It
truly is.
I don't know if I ever need to go back to Florida, but if I do, I would go to Miami.
Yeah.
I don't think I would go anywhere else. And I've been to Key West. I've been to the very tip, like how the penis tip, and then the Key West is the ejaculate, like the stream of ejaculate.
Yes.
I've been down to the very bottom of that stream.
Cool. What's it like?
Meh.
Okay.
There's a little sign that's like, this is the southernmost tip of the United States. And I'm like, oh, wow, how about that? Let's get back in the car, everybody, and drive like 15 hours. Boring. I mean, it's great if you're like the beach bum, Matthew McConaughey sort of thing.
Sure. And
I did have a slice of key lime pie.
Ooh.
And you know what? It was marginally better than it is outside of Key West.
It is good down there.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Great.
And that's the Bad Boys episode.
Yeah, that's Bad Boys. So I never really seen the full movie, and I was kind of surprised by the plot. Because it's like, it's Mike Lowry, which I thought was funny that his name was Lowry because I kept thinking of Brazil.
Yeah.
Mr. Lowry, Mike Lowry.
Mike Lowry.
And that's Will Smith, and he's like a cool bachelor guy.
Yep.
Has a sweet apartment. And then you have Martin Lawrence as, I forget the other guy's name.
Oh, Jimmy Boy. Jimmy Bad Boy.
And Martin Lawrence is Jimmy Bad Boy.
Yeah.
Who's like the family man.
Yeah.
And he's got his house and his wife and his kids. And then there's like a snafu with some drug kingpins. And Téa Leoni is a witness.
Yeah.
And she wants to talk to Mike Lowry, but Mike Lowry was knocked out in the snafu. So Martin Lawrence has to pretend to be Mike Lowry.
No reason.
No reason. Yeah. But they keep that plot.
I don't know why.
Up for a long time.
I don't know why.
And
because when it gets resolved, it's like, okay.
Yeah, totally. It's like, it's not a big deal that you guys have to like swap identities.
I don't know.
But there's like, Martin Lawrence's Jimmy Bad Boy's wife gets pissed that he's staying at Mike Lowry's apartment with like a sexy witness.
Of course.
It's I guess I was surprised by the fact that was the plot for so much of it.
Yeah, like
it's like 12th Night.
Yeah. Well, of course, it is based on that. I didn't really like this movie that much. I thought it was. I like even just like 90s thrillers, 90s like cop movies or whatever. Like just in general, aesthetically, whatever. But I thought it was pretty boring. Now, granted, I did watch for the first like 20 minutes of the movie. I was watching Caveh Zahedi ruin his life. But so you really just take everything I say with a grain of salt, even more so than usual.
But I wasn't, and I was also kind of bored.
I don't think it's that great. There are flashes of like Michael Bay. There's some Michael Bay like brilliance going on.
Sure. Even when they go to Club Hell.
Yeah. Even the opening sequence, I thought the thing about Michael Bay for me, and oh god, now I do want to kind of watch all this movie. I just don't have time. I gotta watch this stuff. There's stuff I want to see before I go to TIFF, and then there's TIFF, and then there's like also like I just need to get some sleep, man. I had to sleep. I'm just tired, man. I'm tired of watching Caveh Zahedi. I don't want to go tonight, Alex. We can't go tonight. I don't want to go. I don't want to be in the same room as him. All right, I'm going to. It'll be fun. Mr. Zahedi. He can never we can't invite him onto the show. He can never listen to this. He just won't listen to it.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
He would come on though if you were like,
if we just shove a microphone in his face. Yeah. We should try to say it. We should try to introduce yourself tonight. Just say hi.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
We're big fans.
Get a picture. Do you want a picture with him though?
Yeah.
See, this is the thing. When you get,
I want to be implicated.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. I would watch a Woody Allen movie. Do I want to get a picture with Woody Allen?
You would, you sick son
Oh,
of a bitch.
I don't know though.
You would.
No, I mean it's my
You'd let him put his arm around you. It was so very nice to meet you, Ben.
yeah. Wow. I can tell just by looking at you that there was a period in your 20s where you wore the same glasses as me, and he'd be right. There was. Yeah. When we first met, I was really. I mean, you might not remember, but I was definitely, I talked like this quite a bit.
That is
you
true.
Think, Alex, it's nice to meet you finally.
People at Queens would be like, "Have you met the Woody Allen guy?"
Have you met the Woody? There were a few people who were like, "Have you met that Woody Allen guy?" Yeah, it's unfortunate. Listen, it happens to a lot of people. A lot of
movies are dangerous.
Nearsighted white men.
Don't watch movies. You might end up imitating Woody
movies.
Allen.
They're a disease. They're a disease. Yeah. Wait, what were we talking about?
You're gonna watch all the Michael Bay movies?
Oh yeah,
no, you need sleep.
I just don't have time. Okay, here's the thing about Michael Bay. Here's the thing about Michael Bay. Okay, I really need to go to bed. But here's the thing about him. Here's the thing about him. So, like, obviously, what do you associate with him is like action or whatever, but maximalism, right?
Yeah.
Like every single shot is the hero shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a lot of movies, there will be that epic. Whatever spinning shot or the epic, hero shot where the camera's, gracefully swooping in and up to the hero who's standing epically or doing whatever. In Michael Bay, every single shot is like that.
Yeah.
Every insert is like that. So when you have the beginning of the movie where there's like a heist going on or whatever, it's not just the shots of the guys getting out with the, Splinter Cell goggles on and looking around and everything looks cool.
Yeah.
It's like when they cut the lock to the fence, it's an epic shot.
Yeah.
It's like a beautiful, slow motion, whip pan or whatever. When they're looking at the piles of drugs, it's like whipping around them like it's the coolest thing you've ever seen. And it's not to the point of like something like Tony Scott, like later period Tony Scott in like Domino, where every single shot is like so crazy and so deep fried that it's almost incomprehensible and it like gives you a headache. At this point, at least, in Michael Bay's career, the beginning of his career, it actually felt very restrained,
yes.
which is not a word I would ever use for him in general. Even by his next movie, The Rock, which is a movie, again, I really have only seen in like high school maybe. I would love to watch it again because I think that's a much better movie than this. I remember that movie is really like off the chain already. This movie feels pretty reined in terms of that, but there's still lots of beautiful, even just that shot of like at the very beginning of like the Miami sign and with the giant orange sky and the giant plane going across it and like all that sort of stuff. Like there's some beautiful looking shots.
I agree, and I think it's a result of his background in commercials. He was trying to make things look sexy in 30 seconds, and you spend 30 seconds trying to make a product look as appealing as possible. Why not make your whole feature-length movie sexify the product of Will Smith and Martin Lawrence? But yeah, I also agree that I was very surprised that there are plenty of cool like Michael Bay-esque shots like that, but then there are also very static like back and forth twofer shots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like, it's not maximalist yet. And it makes sense because it's like, his first movie, it has a relatively modest budget for what comes after in Michael Bay's career. Like, right. It's still very much like, he didn't go full tilt. I don't think he was probably allowed to go full tilt.
Or maybe he didn't have that confidence yet, or didn't have that tools necessary to fully go. Yeah, so all that stuff I was saying is much more applicable to the second film. Because you're right, a lot of this movie honestly ends up being shot, reverse shot conversations. Right? Yeah. Which is like a lot of movies. And there are ways certain directors or cinematographers can resist resist the boredom inherent in that formula, and then a lot of the times though in the process of doing that it ends up being inappropriate, like people are trying so hard to resist shot reverse shot that they end up doing something that like really doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean, like whipping back and forth or something. Sometimes that works and other times it feels like, okay, well, I get why you did that because you don't want to do it the normal way, but it doesn't it doesn't really make sense for the rhythm of this scene, right? So in this movie, there's just a lot of that regular sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas, and I haven't seen this in a long time, but my memory of Bad Boys 2 is that Bad Boys 2 is like every single moment of that movie is like insane, and I'm sure because it's 2.5 fucking hours long, there's got to be some more kind of settled down stuff.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
This movie just feels like an amuse-bouche, as the French say.
Totally.
For the next one.
And it is a lot of just kind of, them going around talking to people. Their boss is Joe Pantoliano.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
There's some good Joey Pants stuff, yeah.
Barking at them. They go around. There's that mistaken identity bit that goes on for way too long for some reason, to pull comedy from, or maybe some tension. But then a lot of the action is just kind of straightforward shootout stuff, and again, I think it is because this is one of Michael Bay's smaller movies.
Yeah.
But there aren't like that many huge, gigantic action set pieces or anything. It's just a lot of like, there's the bad guys, they're taking cover, shooting at us, we're shooting at them. Maybe we get into some hand-to-hand. I think the most interesting set for that kind of stuff in this movie was the scene in Club Hell. I think that's what it was called.
Right. That sounds right.
And there's like, it feels like a Michael Bay directed music video set or something, because there's like dancers and it looks like there's like people hanging from the ceiling and stuff like that. And it's shot in that like Michael Bay way with the constantly like moving camera, that sequence. And that was like kind of fun to see. But then it just kind of ends up being a really pretty straightforward shootout, between the good guys and the bad guys.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. I thought that the editing was pretty dynamic in the like car chase, like / foot chase section, right? Where Will Smith is running to catch the bad guys, the bad boys, if you will.
Yeah. But they are also the bad boys. Although in this movie, not particularly bad. In the second movie, if I recall, they do some bad things. Oh. In this movie, they're, They frighten Michael Imperioli.
They do. They are not, from Michael Imperioli's perspective, which I think generally all films should be from, they are bad boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was just trying to be a mechanic instead of being a drug guy. Mm-hmm. And they didn't let him.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, good cast. Yeah. It's nice to see young Imperioli cast here. Young Christopher.
A couple Sopranos characters.
Oh, Joey Pants. Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Ralphie Cifaretto.
Yeah. I thought, you keep cutting back to Will Smith running, right? The slow-mo, that car chase scene? And Martin Lawrence is on the car and he's about to get run over. And then finally you connect the two spaces.
Right.
When he gets him out of the way. That feels like more like what's going to come later.
Yeah.
Those sorts of dynamic sequences,
But even that car chase scene wasn't like super crazy extravagant like
really.
Car chase.
There's one shot where it like hits a bicycle.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay.
It explodes.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
It's set up like this is gonna be fucking crazy, and then it rolls over the bicycle, and you're like, oh yeah, of course that's what would happen. It wouldn't explode, would it? Yeah.
He didn't have the explosion budget yet.
Not yet.
Which I'm sure it comes.
Yeah. I mean, well, there's some huge explosions in Transformers movies and whatever else. Yeah,
exactly.
I can't wait to see that. Can you imagine? 2029. I think that's pretty generous. Yeah. Yeah. I made a promise to a past and future guest the other day. I haven't told you about this yet.
Okay.
I made a promise that we would do a franchise in 2025.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to do it. I won't announce it. I'll tell you off mic.
Sure.
But that's the only thing we have locked for 2020. I actually went ahead and looked at what was coming up, and like for the most part, schedule is not like box office schedules aren't really accurate. Although Mission Impossible 8 will be happening in 2025, so it's possible we could do that.
Yeah,
that's 8 movies.
Yeah,
that's a long time.
You're way bigger of a fan of than I am.
How many of them have you seen?
Like 3.
Which ones?
I saw like the first 2 way back in the day.
Okay.
And then I saw the one that came out in like, it must have been like 2018 or 19.
Fallout?
Yes.
With the helicopters?
Probably.
Okay. That one is great. Here's the thing: they're all great. All of them are good. Even 3, which people don't like as much, is good. They're all like good because of Tom Cruise.
Okay.
All right. We'll get to that. We don't have to do it next year, but we could. All right. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
2 months.
Yeah. Transformers 2029. That sounds right. And by then I'll have seen the Michael Bay movies I need to see, such as 13 Hours, his movie about Benghazi.
Okay.
And which I know a lot of people like a lot of those vulgar auteur people are like into that one. And then of course Pain and Gain, which many people would consider to be one of his best movies, if not his best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as a joke, I guess we wouldn't be covering it, but when you do watch it during that stretch of time, we should become roided out muscle freaks.
I would love to. Yeah, I would love to. I need to get in shape, and if I have to do steroids to get in shape, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do them just for fun.
It'd be funny to see what happens if you take steroids but don't work out.
Yeah, I wonder. do you just get really big?
I don't know.
Like, but not fit big, just big? Because I'm already big.
There's only one way to find out.
All right. Wait, what happens to your balls again? Do they shrink or do they become big?
I think they fall off.
They fall off.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. Doesn't matter. Not using anything. Who cares? Why not? All right, great. So that will be in 2029. Look forward to it. Put it in your iCal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or your GCal.
Or your GCal. What else do you have to say about Bad Boys? I don't really have much to say. Like, what do you think about the performances? Let's talk about that. So one thing I thought was interesting is that Martin Lawrence seems to be more of the lead in this movie than Will Smith. Like he just kind of has more jokes, and I know he's like he's the comedian compared to Will in general. But he seems to have a kind of a bigger sort of space in this than Will does. And then I feel like that probably changes by the time that Bad Boys 2 rolls around. You know?
Well, there's that whole stretch of time where Will Smith, I guess, is just knocked unconscious, and Martin Lawrence has to, like, talk to Téa Leoni, where they set up the whole, like, him pretending to be Mike Lowry. It is kind of Martin Lawrence-centric.
Do you like Martin Lawrence? Do you think he's funny?
I remember really liking Blue Streak.
Right. I've seen Blue Streak. I think Blue Streak is funny.
I would like to rewatch Blue Streak.
Yeah. I think he's well, I don't know. I guess I haven't really seen much of his comedy.
Yeah, me neither.
But like he was a big Will Smith when we were kids, like especially after this movie and like between this movie and the second movie, he was one of the biggest movie stars in the world.
Absolutely.
And I really liked him in Men in Black, which is a movie I was like too scared to see when I was a kid, but then eventually was convinced that it wasn't that scary and we could watch it. And I watched it and I loved it. Yeah. And I mean, he is really good in that movie. We should, Men in Black 2025. Think about it. 2026. Martin Lawrence similarly was pretty big when we were kids, but was not in the same caliber of movies. He was in like Big Mama's House and like National Security. Black Knight, a movie that I rented like with my family, like extended family, like grandma and grandpa was like a cinephile, like who owned like Eric Romer DVDs. Yeah, sat down and watched Black Knight with us and was like, interesting film, Ben. There were a couple times where that happened. There's a movie, the Lost in Space remake, which is really like atrocious, but I loved it when I was a kid, and I showed it to him, and I remember him being like, "That was a really interesting film."
That's very sweet of him.
Yeah, it's very and the same thing with Down to Earth, the Chris Rock movie. I remember
renting that.
Yeah, I remember him being like, "Wow,
Yeah,
yeah, he's funny."
That's very sweet. I remember my dad took me to see The Mummy Returns.
Yeah,
and I think he like chastised me for wanting to go see that afterwards. He's like, "You wanted to see that." Not very supportive.
No. Yeah. I mean, whatever. They're both right.
Yeah. The duality of man.
Indeed. Yeah.
But yeah, like you're right. It is kind of like Martin Lawrence focused, I guess, because that's where a lot of the drama, quote unquote, and tension arises from. Like, will his wife find out about Téa Leoni, even though there's no real issue or conflict?
He's not having an affair.
I gotta be honest with you. I had a very similar feeling watching this movie as I did watching 300 Rise of an Empire, where it was kind of like I was surprised, by how kind of nothingy this film felt, even though it is like Michael Bay's first movie and the first in a pretty big successful franchise that still makes money to this day, you know, and the legendary rapport between Will Smith and Martin Lawrence was just kind of like, I don't know, like it didn't feel like they were like that good buddies or anything. Like they had the lines about like, I've known you all my life or whatever, but it just never felt like they actually really were friends or liked each other, or they didn't really have good banter, you know. I was kind of surprised. To me, I came away from it being like the first Bad Boys is kind of similar to how I felt after 300 Rise of an Empire, a bit of a nothing burger.
I agree. I don't think there's very much interesting about it. The most interesting thing about it is to see the first film Michael Bay directed.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're into Michael Bay, like, but particularly maybe not so much like his whatever virtuosic, you know, sense of the cinema, but like the things he thinks are cool or interesting, like his sense of humor. There's some of that in this movie as well. He doesn't like write the script, but you know, there's some Michael Bay isms and so on. I don't really care about that sort of stuff. I don't like that sort of stuff. I'm more interested in him being a crazy director nut who like makes maximalist kind of fascist movies. This movie is like, you know, these Bad Boys movies are certainly fascist to some extent.
Extremely, you know,
pro-cop, police state sort of movies, you know? Like, this is like such a funny film bro thing, you know? This is going to be film bro series, maybe more than any of the ones we've done. But, you know, well, we'll see how we feel about Bad Boys 2. I have a feeling like we're going to enjoy it. Okay. But maybe I'm setting us up for disaster like I always do. Or in particular, recently with the Alien films.
The chips are on Bad Boys too.
When the movie is like low-key fascist, like a lot of like cop movies, a lot of action movies, and that genre especially tends to sort of be, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about like American like action movies typically. That's not interesting to me unless the filmmaking is really good. And Michael Bay, you know, makes like a beautiful propagandistic like images.
Yeah.
Which are troubling and wonderful and all that. And Bad Boys 2, I think, is filled with those.
Yeah.
From what I remember as a child. Who, of course, understood this very well.
Yeah,
Of course, young 11-year-old Ben watching
like
Bad
young
Boys
Sheldon.
2. Yeah, was sort of the cinema version of young Sheldon.
Yeah.
And instead of, well, never mind. And I remember saying to my friends or whoever we were watching it, like, well, the fascism present in this film is actually quite interesting because of the strength of the filmmaking, and they all said stuff it, nerd. Yeah. I guess we'll see if that tends to be true. But when you don't have that, then you're just watching this and you're like, oh, like, all right. I don't like cops. I don't think they're interesting. Yeah. I don't even like these cops who are like irreverent, you know? Like,
but they're not like irreverent enough.
Not really.
Their banter just isn't funny.
No, it's not.
Maybe it gets funnier.
Well, there isn't much tension. Yeah. And I don't mean like dramatic stakes. I mean like there isn't much comedic tension really.
Yeah.
You know, there's like, oh, is Will Smith having sex with Martin Lawrence's wife? Well, no.
Of course not.
Of course not.
But Martin Lawrence believes he might be for a moment, just to have the like...
Just to be sneaking around on the windowsill and everything and goofing off. And I don't know, it's just not that funny. Like, you know, the script, I think...
The script's weird.
Yeah, it's not great. I noticed in Bad Boys 2, one of the credited writers is Ron Shelton, who wrote a lot of those like sports comedies like White Man Can't Jump and like
Young Shelton.
Bull Durham and Young Shelton, Yeah. Do you want to make Young Shelton about the career of young Ron Shelton?
Yeah.
I think that could be really big amongst a very specific type of film guy.
It's got legs.
Yeah, it's got legs.
As they say.
Yeah. Ron Shelton can jump. He's the one white man who can jump.
Yeah.
Yeah. They prove that in the film.
White men can't jump. Asterisks. Mice type at the bottom. Ron Shelton can.
Ron Shelton can. He can jump and he can score the metaphorical basket of having a successful career in Hollywood.
That is true.
Yeah. And making some of the most beloved sports films out there. Yeah.
But I think you're absolutely right. Like without the Michael Bay bombast quite to, the level he reaches later on.
Right.
Without much interesting comedic tension or banter between the two leads, and with Téa Leoni just kind of being dragged around from moment to moment.
Yeah, quipping, so she's got some quips.
But it doesn't really make sense why they don't just put her into like police custody for safety.
No.
Like they kind of take care of her off the books.
She doesn't have to be there.
No.
She shouldn't be there.
So you're just kind of left with like a bit of a weird head scratcher cop movie that's just quite, middle of the road in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Maybe even the shoulder of the road.
You could say they pulled over all the way onto the shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they didn't put the flashers on.
So I don't have much to say about it other than I found it. I didn't have huge expectations for this one, so I don't know if it was entirely disappointing, but I just didn't find it very interesting either.
No, I don't think it's that great.
I'm going to give it 2 Kevin Corrigans out of 5.
It was nice seeing Kevin Corrigan in there, who is also in the show about the show.
Kevin Corrigan?
Yeah.
Oh, possibly in the paid episodes?
No, I'm pretty sure even earlier there's one very quick shot of Kevin Corrigan.
I can't even remember it.
There's a lot of people who show up at that show.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it... That's a great rating system. Thank you. I'm going to also give it 2 Kevin Corrigans. Yeah.
Great.
Which normally would be a great amount of Kevin. We only have 1 Kevin Corrigan.
Unfortunately,
it would be a great amount of Kevin Corrigans to have in the world.
We haven't found a way to clone Kevin Corrigan.
No, not yet, and God willing, one day we will. But to have 5 Kevin Corrigans obviously would be life-changing.
Ideal.
Yeah, world peace would be achieved instantaneously.
Well, because you could have 1 Kevin Corrigan per continent. Asia's Kevin Corrigan, Oceania's Kevin Corrigan.
There, two countries are about to enter a bloody war, and the World Corrigan Court. Yeah, Corrigan Court is called.
Throw in $2.90 and you got yourself a deal.
The fires are lit on all the tallest peaks of the mountains, and the 5 Kevin Corrigans have to come together to judge peacefully the process of which to avoid and avert catastrophe.
Yeah, that's good.
A better future is possible.
Yeah, they're all like hooded.
Yeah,
hooded figures with their Kevin Corrigan.
Yeah, and they're so they all look like they're all Kevin Corrigan, right? Who's white, right? But but the different Kevin Corrigans on different continents all have now, and there's only one nice way to say it. They have the Cloud Atlas makeup where they make other actors look like different races, but you can tell they're not supposed to be like that.
So I've never seen Cloud Atlas.
Okay, well, you should watch that.
Okay.
We'll do it on the Cloud Atlas episode where we do Cloud Atlas. We'll split it up into 2 or 3 episodes.
Atlas Shrugged.
Oh, yeah. Oh, perfect. Atlas Shrugged Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Cloud Atlas. That'd be great. That's a great idea.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to do that. Nico will really like that. Oh, and we'll do the Fountainhead.
We'll bring Nico back, but we'll alienate everyone else.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, great.
Nobody will listen to this. Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, so they're all, I'm just saying they're all like appropriate for the...
You can tell they're from their different regions, but they're all still very much Kevin Corrigan.
They're all still very much Kevin Corrigan, and also you'll look at it and you'll say, that's not right. They shouldn't have done that. Like Cloud Atlas, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
They shouldn't have done that.
Okay.
It's pretty bad.
Interesting.
But I mean, Cloud Atlas is a crazy movie. I
gotta see it.
Yeah, you gotta see it. Okay, but we're not talking about Cloud Atlas. Sorry, let's wrap it up.
Sure.
We got an email today. We got an email in the franchisee's email box.
No way.
Now, here's a question for you.
Yes.
It's an Alien Romulus response that we solicited.
Okay.
In the last episode.
Okay.
But that was over 2 episodes ago.
Oh, so old
So should I
news.
play it into that, or should we play it here? Let's just play it here, right? Because then we can react to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So Alien Romulus is no longer relevant. Okay, that's fine. Just pretend that it is. Okay. We received an email with the subject Alien Romulus from friend of the show, past and future guest Mary Jane, and let us hear it right now.
Hi, Ben and Alex.
Hi, Mary Jane.
You put out the call to the franchisees, so I must answer. I saw Alien Romulus, and I have to say I did really like it. I have to give context and also say that I am a person who has only seen the first 2, or had only at the time, and has very little memory of either of them. So you can't be bothered by fan service when you have no idea what's going on and you're not really a fan. Though, I mean, I'm not a fan. The first one is amazing, obviously. Yeah, and you can't be disturbed by deep-faked Ian Holm when you didn't know that he was dead. I was also going to say, so for someone who doesn't know what's going on, it was really gross. I said ew several times throughout, gloppy, goopy. I didn't know, hadn't seen the other one, so there's like always this like pregnancy thing, but so when the girl gave birth, I was like, oh, so gross, but like, to me it was fresh, so anyway.
It's just a Romanian.
I just gotta say, ignorance is bliss, I guess. Okay, bye. And one more thing. This has nothing to do with the movie, but I did see it at a Landmark cinema where you can fully recline, and I was almost fully reclined, and I was so comfortable, and I think that added a lot to the experience as well. Okay, now bye for real, bye.
Well, I'm happy she had a good time.
Yeah, me too. Thank you for writing in, MJ, and thank you for answering the call as one of our, if not the number one franchisee. Salute.
Yes,
we are saluting.
We are.
Sorry,
actually,
I know.
yeah.
Sorry, I forgot you can't actually see it, but Alex and I did both salute at each other, but really at Mary Jane.
Yes.
So thank you. No, that's nice. I'm glad that you liked it. You're wrong. No, just kidding. It's subjective. And you know what? Maybe it is a fun time at the movies, and especially if you can lie back in the chair.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. And I think, she's really got a good point. If you don't know Ian Holm's dead, if you don't have certain context, also here's the problem with this fucking show, Alex. Okay?
Okay.
Sorry, it's not your fault.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that sounded accusatory. Here's the problem with our fucking show.
Yeah.
Okay? We when we do these franchises that are about to have a new release, I'm sure there's a common thing. Nerds who like the movies, they'll watch all the movies leading up to it. They'll go see the new movie, whatever. I get it. You don't have to have a podcast to do that. However, when you do have a podcast, we're not only watching all these movies, we're also thinking about them and then talking about them to each other, obsessing over them, and like sifting through all the fine details. And
because we're good at that,
we're really and it's fresh too. It's not just like we're reading off the Wiki. We haven't taken notes in a really long time, and I think that's better.
Yeah,
I think that's better because we know more about the movie than if we had read actually about it. 100%. No wonder that sets us up to be disappointed.
Right.
So perhaps context is not king. Perhaps context is a real bitch. Get away from her. And
like the android says.
It actually doesn't make something better. I think a lot of the times it doesn't make something better. And maybe this is the case. And maybe that's why this movie is popular and making a lot of money.
And maybe why we should discard the format of the show, but continue watching these new franchise movies, but just without having seen what came before.
Yeah, maybe we should.
In a really long time.
Yeah, and the rest of the show can be Caveh Zahedi style about our sex lives. I'm dating a college student. I'm breaking up with my wife. My kids hate me.
That would be really funny. No, listen, if I could have reclined, been really comfortable, got in a beach while watching it, I'm sure I would have had a far better time.
Sure, yeah. I'm sure that's the case. Yeah. I wouldn't have liked that.
No.
Yeah, I would have had to say, stop. I'm watching the movie.
I'm trying to watch Alien Romulus.
Get that thing out of your mouth.
Yeah.
I'm trying to watch this movie.
Yeah. I do resent some of what she said about it being so gross. It's just a Romanian. We're not that unseemly.
This is the MJ doesn't know it's a Romanian.
That's true.
Not until she listened to the episode. So actually, recording that note, she would have heard the episode and would have heard he was Romanian. So that is anti-Romanian of you, MJ. You have to sing 5 Romanian national anthems as penance. How does that go, Alex?
5 You didn't really say the Romanian national anthem 5 times. You said 5 Romanian national anthems, as if we have more than one.
Do you not?
Which we do.
Oh, great.
We have that Numa Numa Ye song by Ozone.
Right.
We have Edward Maya's Stereo Love.
Okay.
And I'll get back to you about the other 3.
All right, great. Well, MJ, as penance, you have to do 5 Numa Numas.
Actually, Moldovan, but that's pretty much
whatever.
Romanian.
Who gives a shit? All right, let's get the frick out of here and go over to the Paradise
hero.
Theater. Yeah, to see our hero.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm getting butterflies in my stomach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caveh Zahedi shaped butterflies with his head on a butterfly flapping around,
It's gonna
being
be
like,
weird.
Yeah, I don't know. So I was like thinking the other day that maybe I would fly around in Ben's stomach, and I'm just kind of like looking around here, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe one of these other butterflies is going to want to have sex with me.
Mandy and I had a fight again.
You don't first think of the story of the song and then make the song. It has to come out of that moment. And that's what the film has. It's just that moment, which is holy. Like this moment. It's holy. But like we walk around like it's not holy. We walk around like there are some holy moments and there are all the other moments that are not holy, right? But like this moment's holy, right? And I feel like film can let us see that. Can just frame it so that we see like this moment. Holy. And it's like holy, 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 moment by moment. But like who can live that way? Who can like go wow, holy? Because if I were to like look at you and just really like let you be holy, I don't know. I would like stop talking.